Hello everyone, welcome to Paradise Pastures. Today's little project is we are going to be setting up a carport that we won at the Ritchie Brothers auction. As you can see there, it's a 20 foot by 30 foot by 12 foot high. We got a decent deal on it. First time I've actually won anything at the auction. So anyway, we thought we'd share with you while we learn to set it up. We got the boys to help us. We're learning as we go. None of us have done it, so follow along. It's pretty important to make sure that you're measuring the base as you set these things. It'll make a big difference when you go to actually put the cover on. I had some obstacles in the way from other projects and stuff, but we were able to work around them without having to move everything. I know it's kind of frowned on to use the tractor like we are in this manner, but I felt like it was pretty safe. We were less than 6 feet off the ground and we were not on a job site. So this actually came with 2 rolls of duct tape, and the directions recommended that you tape the joints in order when you put the cover on it doesn't drag and tear. So that's what we were doing there. So we spread out the cover. It's actually behind the Connex laying on the ground. I would recommend at least 4 people to do that unless you want a big train wreck. And we took some ropes and we threw them up over the Connex, tied them to the cover, and our plan is to put a couple people on the ropes and try and pull it up over the Connex and over the top. And it's pretty windy, so there's a little bit of unknown there, but it did pull up over the top. There's a couple times we had to grab hold of it and hold it down, but it worked okay. Alright, so we're pretty much done. I think it'll work just fine. We actually did a few touches inside that didn't show up on the camera very well. I thought maybe I'd kind of go over those a little bit better on some of the details. One of the things that we did was added these 1x strips on the bottom, kind of helping keep the door reinforced a little bit and less flapping in the wind. And it also made a huge difference rolling the door up, because it actually it was almost impossible to roll it up by yourself when you wanted to open these doors, which I will show you that in a minute. So earlier in the video you could see me trying to roll these doors up, and we were really fighting it. After putting those boards on there, they just roll up nice and clean, and I think they're going to make them last a lot longer in the wind. So one of the things I wanted to show you a little clearer, this tent came with these nice base plates with ratchet straps to hold this thing down. So there's some pipe, you slide through that pocket all the way down this thing, and then you take your knife and you cut a little hole in the pocket to tie the strap to, and that sucks it down nice and tight. Pretty good setup. So we had some good concrete on this side of the pad to anchor to, but unfortunately the other side of the pad we did not. So this whole edge was broke off and crumbled. So what we ended up doing was digging out and setting these cinder blocks at the elevation that we wanted, and then I took and cut some rebar, 3-foot pieces, drove them into the ground opposite directions, and tie wired them together. And we bought these ratchet straps and basically just sucked them down to the rebar. And we did this on all of them. I believe that's going to work pretty good. Time will tell, right or wrong. That's what we did. On these walls on the end, they show taking that rope and wrapping it through the eyes and wrapping across around the beam, or the steel here. Well, we ended up using tie wraps initially, and we just set them loose so that we could slide and adjust this thing to get it set right. And then afterwards I came back with a rope, ran it through the eyes. I cut these in about 10-foot pieces to, well, I didn't cut them in 10-foot pieces. Everyone working together did it. I figured if we wrapped them in 10-foot pieces and tied them off, then if something came loose or broke, we would only lose a section of the wall and not the whole thing. So after we got that, I came back to the cover here, and they show wrapping these around the steel also, but instead we actually went through the loops on the wall, and when I'm doing it that way, it sucked both of them up tight, and I think it'll work a lot better. So had to do that around both sides, down the walls, and it seems like it's pretty tight. I think it's going to work pretty good.